Welcome back, Slicey here, back again with some knife therapy. And today's knife, I got another TwoSun for y'all. This is the TwoSun TS 179, and this one actually has a name. It's called the Perfecto. This is a design collaboration with my buddy Sean from Tepe Designs. I like pretty much every design that Sean has came out with. He's come out with several, and I really look forward to what he has coming out into 2020. Now, the price on this is definitely going to fluctuate because on eBay, where I got it from, it's through auctions. And I think I paid, 70 bucks for it, which I think is a super steal for this knife. But if you want to get off of Amazon, I saw one just a little while ago for 123 bucks. So I still don't think that's really that far out of line. I think it's out of line at all, actually. Let's get some specs out of the way. This is a pretty small knife, but perfect in that size range that I like, and it's nice and hand feeling for my hand. So you have a 6 1/4 inch overall length with a grip area of 2 3/4. You have a handle thickness of 0.67. Wait a minute, I messed up. I'm sorry. Start over. Blade length of 2 3/4. Grip area of 3 1/4 inches. The thickness is 0.67, which is it's pretty thick, but it's also thick 3D contoured scales. You have a close width in the pocket of 1.38 inches, so not bad. It's nice and smooth back here for whenever you're putting your hand into your pocket. It doesn't hurt at all. You have a blade stock thickness of 0.135 or 3.4 millimeters. And one of the specs that I love a lot about this knife, it has a nice and lean grind, just like so many of the TwoSuns do. Let's see if I can show you. Look at that. Nice and thin. It doesn't even want to focus on that. My current specimen reads 11 thousandths at its thinnest portion and 13 thousandths at its thickest portion. And as you can see, it doesn't have a huge bevel, and that is at 15 degrees per side, according to my measurements. So this has been a laser beam, very fun to cut with. And whenever you have a small knife like this, I don't see why you would have a thick, overbuilt, stout blade, because you're not gonna get a whole bunch of leverage on a small handle like that. That's just my opinion, and just the way I like these smaller knives to be. Let's take a closer look at this. You have a sheep's foot blade with a satin finish on the flats and on the primary. You have a nice bevel going down the spine, so none of this is sharp. As you can see, you have a bevel right there. You have no jimping to speak of, so it's nice, and you got a nice flat spot to put your thumb. You have the TwoSun logo on this side, and on this side you have the Tepe Design logo right there. Your blade steel designation is S90V, a high vanadium steel. And this one is numbered number 102. I know I had read somewhere that they were gonna have the first production batch of 100 numbered, but it looks like they kept on doing it. It has these Cobra hoods or thumb plates for the opening mechanism. You have a perfectly executed sharpening choil, and it doesn't come out too far to where you're going to catch material a lot on this end of the blade right here. Well done there. Let's close it up. You have 3D contoured thick titanium scales. You have nice milled lines on the scales, and you also have this dot pattern on both sides of the knife. and you have this large eyeball hole in the middle of the scales. And I talked to Sean, and he said that this was designed as a cigar cutter. And I will say, with that edge as thin as it is, my father-in-law had a cigar, and I was like, let me just see if this works. And it worked fine. You put the cigar in there, let it bottom out onto the other side of the scale, and I grabbed it like this, closed it up like that, and popped it off. I guess if you forgot your cigar cutter or you didn't want to bring an extra tool with you and you already had your knife, then, you know, good idea. I don't smoke cigars, so it's kind of gimmicky for me. But if you don't want to use it as a cigar thing, let me show you something else you can use it for. Oh, you want to disengage your lock? Press the lock over. Whoop. See, that's what I thought it was, like a lock disengager. You have almost a full-length titanium backspacer. Everything's smoothed out, very smooth. I like how they finish this. It's very smooth. It has like a gray blasted finish over the titanium. Those lines, they keep it from being super slick. You get a little bit of texture and grip out of there. Being that your lock bar is flush with the show side scale, they do have 2 internal cutouts, and it is very easy to disengage that lock bar. And also they did a good job with the lock relief. You don't have excess amount of lock tension. It's dialed in just right. And in the lock tension, and the way the knife is set up and it's on bearings, this is one of the smoothest knives I've felt in, like, whenever you open it up like that. It has absolutely no friction, and it's kind of dirty right now, but it's definitely a free dropper when it's clean. Flip it over on this side, you have a 3D milled titanium pocket clip, and I think it looks so clean the way it's done. Kind of melts into the scale right there. Those thumb plates do sit up a little proud of the scale, so you can get your finger in there to flick it, and you can put your fingernail on the back side of it and spotty flick it if you want as well, or you could always two-hand open it, which is not the easiest. Detent is not super strong. It's just right for having a thumb opener. So you get a nice positive click. Perfectly centered blade. Actually, it's off to the right a little bit, but I have been using the heck out of this knife, so it's probably just loosened up on me from the use. Sorry about the ums. Your hardware is Torx T8 throughout. Something that they always do. I love that. And no special hardware or anything. Actually, let's see something. I just took a knife, one of these apart. Let me see something. I made a liar out of myself. You got Torx T8 on your body screws, the ones that really matter, and the clip screw, which is blind screwed in the back, keeps it nice and clean. But your lock bar, your steel lock bar insert, and the thumb plates both take a T6, which that doesn't really bother me, because on a normal disassembly, I'm not taking those apart, taking that stuff off anyway. Your blade to handle ratio is 1:1, and I can't catch the tip at all, as you can see, because this backspacer comes up high enough to where it pushes your finger up over it, and you definitely don't have to worry about coming in contact with that blade because of this backspacer. Now, I'm pretty sure they use this almost full-length backspacer, because as you can see, that blade is very close to that backspacer. So if you didn't, you could probably touch that blade and cut yourself. So I'm glad that they thought about that. Now, talking about that backspacer, well, we'll come back to that in a second. ergos on this thing. Somebody asked me how the ergos were because of this hole. But my fingers, I have a medium-sized hand. I can get a full 4 fingers on there. And these 2 fingers sit right here on top. And being that these are contoured and these scales are wide, I get a nice grip on this knife. I can get some nice positive cuts. Not that I would do any hard use task with this knife, but it can handle all my ADC tasks without a problem. So far, this is my favorite smaller TwoSun. By far. I like this knife. I like this knife so much that I bought my father-in-law one for Christmas, and I just finished doing the I did my ano finish to the scales. Let me show y'all this real quick. I think he will like it. My father-in-law loves my anodizing work, so I did these scales for him. Get an idea of what it would look like. And I originally I decided to get my father-in-law this knife for 2 reasons. Not only because I love this knife, or I thought it was a great knife. There you go. Also, he is an avid cigar smoker, so I figured, hey, I think it'd be a perfect knife for him. Now, on his, I will probably take off those thumb plates because I'm sure he won't like the thumb plates. He's more of a thumb stud type of guy. Besides this huge hole right there that's relieving weight, you also have milled out pockets, as you can see, on both sides of those holes. So they take out as much material as possible. And you have a small pocket in the back on the lock side as well, and on the back side over there as well. And as we're speaking of weight, let's see how much this 2 3/4 inch bladed knife weighs. 4.2 ounces. Now that's pretty hefty, especially at the size. It's definitely not too hefty. I carried this one and a larger knife with me when I carry it, so that's definitely not gonna bother me. But it is kind of weighty. And let's get into a few of my Nitpicks complaints, and then I'll give y'all some size comparisons, and we'll wrap it up. My first small nitpick, and it's something that I can fix, so it's not that big of a gripe for me, is these thumb plates. I don't love them. The access just feels a little awkward. I usually put my fingernail underneath that one and flip it up like that. As you can see, I can put my thumb on top of it like that and flip it, but it just feels like I got to think about it, or I got to reposition my hand. The Spidey flick is how I like to do it, because I can just put my finger underneath it and just flip it out. But I'm probably on this one right here, I'll probably remove mine and put some thumb studs. There's a little square hole that fits the little tabs on the other side of this plate, that I'll probably put a regular thumb stud, and maybe do a little spot right here to get access to it easier. But that's not that big of a deal. Another thing I did notice about being that these things are so wide, they are coming out into the cutting path. So if you're trying to do a push cut, like cardboard or something like that, it will hit up on there. So, but most of the cuts I do, I start here and then I'm pulling through. And usually when I get to around the middle section, that's whenever I start doing my push cutting. So that wasn't a huge problem when I was doing my testing, but I definitely did notice it cutting some things. Another small nitpick, and this is my only other one, is the weight on this guy could probably be reduced a good bit if they remove this full titanium backspacer. But the caveat to that is in the closed position, then you come dangerously close to the edge. So I understand why they did that. The only other thing they could have done is, you know, this broad blade, wide blade, they could have brought it up a little bit. But I don't know. I'm okay with it, but it does kind of bug me a little bit. This goes in, I forgot to show you all this. It does go in and out of the pocket nicely. You do have a little bit of ramp right there. Nice strong retention. And it's not a deep carry clip. And look, see, it is getting a little, the ramp could probably go up a little bit more because this is a thicker pair of jeans with an extra hem right there. Not deep carry, but it sits deep enough for me. And you still got a place to hold on to, pull it out. It holds it nice in your pocket. And like I said, they did such a good job of smoothing this out. So when you put your hand in your pocket, it actually feels good to me with that backspacer going all the way up like that. Let's get some size comparisons out of the way. Alrighty. We have the drop gent. Now the gent is a decent bit longer, as you can see, and a better, closer representation is the Summit Knives Half Dome. You have about the same grip area. You might have a little bit more grip area in the Perfecto. You definitely have more blade length by just a little bit. Alrighty. Let's see, what do we have next? Got the Elijah Isham Abstruse. The Abstruse is a little bit longer, not by much. You have about the same grip area, except you have much wider scales that are more hand-filling than the Abstruse. And last but certainly not least, this is a great size comparison, pretty much identical. This is the Mini Sheepdog, Kaiser Mini Sheepdog. And as you can see, they're pretty much identical in size. You have more of a grip area on the Perfecto and a little bit, it looks like, I don't know, it's hard to tell because of the way this one comes down right here in that cleaver shaped blade. But you know, they're very, very comparable. You might have just a tad bit longer of a knife in the Perfecto. Alrighty, so my overall thoughts and conclusions. I love it. Great cutter. Very, very smooth. You got that detent ball ramp right there. So whenever you disengage that lock bar, which I hate whenever I have like a liner lock or a frame lock, with a thumb opener and I go to disengage it and I hit right there and it pops right back up. But almost every one of their knives I've ever seen has that, and it just makes it for such a seamless close. There's no point where you feeling it jump over that detent ball at all. Excellent job. This one shows off all their little intricacies that they do, all their chamfering. Even got a nice chamfer around this hole, so it's very, very smooth to the touch. Like I said, you got this chamfer up here on the top, so the blade's not sharp on the spine at all. Very smooth back here. Nice contoured hand feeling. So I wouldn't be worried about this, and it's not really dangerous at all because, I mean, whenever you close a knife, your fingers are back here, you know, unless oh, let me just hurry up and jam my finger right there. I don't think you could do that. So there you go. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up so I know you enjoyed it. And I'll keep on doing my thing. And if you like my videos in general and you're not already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my content. I try to do at least 3 videos a week, if not more. And hope everybody is having an absolute wonderful day. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.